Caitlin Clark effect.
Right.
Do you see that at the high school level? Because girls basketball, even where Brooklyn plays the IGB, what they're doing for AAU girls and then the Under Armour, like, how do you see that trickle down to high school basketball?
I told my class, I was like, constant competition, man. I'm big, like I was telling them a little bit about myself. I was like, I love competition. I love it. I think it's healthy. I love competition in the classroom. I think it brings out the best in us if we handle it the right way.
Era Sports. We're at the game.
Welcome back to the Era Sports Podcast. For the next 16 weeks, we are going to have podcasts that have either coaches and or players that are involved in Southern Indiana basketball on here just to get the season ready and going. Today, I'm joined by Patrick and Coach Schoen from Silver Creek. The state champion is here with us. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. Number one, thank you guys for doing this to promote, like we were talking earlier, high school basketball in general, especially in Southern Indiana, and more importantly for me, high school girls basketball. So really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Patrick, you are the newer addition to Era Sports.
Yep.
You're writing articles, helping with recruiting, and you're a basketball fiend, man.
Well, man, I'm trying to get like you, Braden.
No,
That's
stop
all.
it. Stop it. So for any of you viewers that don't know, Coach Schoen is a girls basketball coach, varsity level, at Silver Creek High School here in Southern Indiana. Silver Creek is just known for winning just everything. So the culture that you guys have built, I've worked with you guys with media here and there, but tell me a little bit about how your season ended / your players from last year, and then what you're looking forward to for key players this year.
That compliment came from a Christian Academy guy.
I know. Hey, listen,
yeah.
I'll take that. I heard that. I was like, hey, I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, we had last year, we were talking a little earlier, we've been a victim of the last 2 years getting put out by, the team that won the 4A state championship in Bedford North Lawrence. And then again, last year we got put out by Bedford, who missed basketball in Chloe Spring. We had a great season last year. We went 18-5. Made it to the semifinals of the sectional before getting put out by BNL. Had some, just had a great year. We've been blessed with a lot of talent, a lot of kids that love basketball and work at basketball outside of basketball season, which we all know is very important that they spend time with it. But then we graduated 3 seniors, off that 18-5 team: Kiki Gant, Jasmine Roby, and Kinsey Ryland, who are 3 really big pieces for us. Jasmine and Kiki are going on to play college basketball at Vincennes University, and they'll go on from there and go play somewhere else as a JUCO. And so what's bleeding into summer, like I always look at how summer basketball is going to be is some unanswered questions. Okay, and June gives us a great opportunity to throw kids into situations and hey, let's see what we have. And I was really a little worried because when you lose players like the 3 seniors we had with leadership, with Kiki with the on-ball pressure and just her harassment, how quickness, Jasmine with her energy, how are other kids, how do you replace that, right? And this summer, man, we have some key kids step in, like a Hannah Sin, who people's never heard of, like you've never heard of her. Jocelyn Chesser, kids that are going to Amira Estevan, kids that you haven't heard their name in the newspaper, but they've been grown in the weeds. They just been playing behind pretty good players. And they stepped into those roles and really, really did a good job with in those situations. So we had a good summer. We beat some really good teams. We beat Fishers and, hit 3 free throws at the end of the game, down 2. Emma, Shane gets fouled, hits 3 free throws to win the game. So beat a really good Fishers team. We lost to Lawrence Central, who won the 4A state championship last year by 12. It was a good game, and they're really, really good. We end up losing to Lawrence North, who will be a top 5 team also in 4A by 4. Really felt like we should have beat them. It was a 4th game on the 2nd day, and my girls are ready to pack it up and go home. So great summer. Like I said, a couple of the kids that I mentioned, Hannah, Amira, and Jocelyn, they did exactly what they needed to do in the summer for us.
And that's a funny thing you talk about summer too. Me and Patrick were up at Charlie Hughes, probably on our 75th game of the weekend, and we're like, dude, we're tired. Yeah. I'm ready to go home, and these people are playing like 2 more games for the day. So it's hard for June to be like, let's evaluate these players. Like we were talking a couple weeks ago, we were watching 2 teams play, and it was both their 5th game of the day.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you even evaluate this? Yeah. But for your girls too, I think being a part of a winning program like that, those players that are going to come up and be special, they've been guarding your best players for the last
Right.
2-3 years, so they're probably game ready. They just were waiting on their shot.
Exactly. We were talking about this every day. They go against them in practice. Every day Jocelyn has to guard Brooklyn Wren. And you're not going to see a better post player. You're not going to see every day. Our JV kids have to go up against those kids. Every day they got to guard Emma Shane. Every day they got to guard Lydia Wright. Every day they got to guard Katie Rooney. And we listen. I told my class this. We already started school at Silver Creek, which is straight
That's
crazy,
stupid.
man. 92 degrees out, and I want to be in the pool, right? But I told my class, I was like, constant competition, man. I'm big. Like I was telling them a little bit about myself. I was like, I love competition. I love it. I think it's healthy. I love competition in the classroom. I think it brings out the best in us if we handle it the right way. And we talk about that a lot in our program is everything's a competition. I don't care if it's a shooting contest. I don't care if it's a running lines. It doesn't matter. Win everything. Right? I get on our kids like, why? Why not? Why not go win? If I've got to run 5 lines, right? And I know certain kids, he can't. But if I'm going to win. I'm going to try to win, And so like what you were talking about is in practice, I think we foster an atmosphere and an environment where it's healthy, man, to go at each other and give each other the best shot. Because the bottom line is we want to win.
Yeah. And I think, too, an exciting part for you, just hearing those names, for boys and girls basketball both, the class of 2025 in this area is unbelievable.
Right.
You just named a couple, like, how many seniors will you lose this year?
Well,
5 or 6?
Yeah, this year, man, I gotta think off the top of my head now. Lydia. Katie,
Starters you'll have.
Well, I got 3 starters: Lydia Wright, Katie Rooney. Let's see, and Hannah. I think Hannah Sin's going to end up starting for me. It's early, so we all get our heads wrapped. But she had a really good summer.
Yeah.
She answered a lot of questions for me. So I feel like we're going to start 3 seniors and 2 juniors. We're probably going to have a junior and a sophomore and probably another sophomore. Right now, if I had to start today, that I would be in my rotation.
Okay.
With some kids knocking on the door. A senior. Probably a senior is going to be by my in the rotation there.
Yeah.
We went from being a really, really young team 2 years ago after we went to the state championship game and got beat. We graduated all 5 starters and we returned. We had 93% of our scoring had left. And, we went from being a really young team 2 years ago to now, we're a very veteran-laden team.
Coach, real quick.
Yep.
Now that Bedford is out of the way, out of the picture.
Yeah.
What are you guys looking at in 3A? What kind of competition do we have at that level, and what is kind of your goals this year for your team?
Yeah. Well, the great thing about girls basketball in this area, period, is it's strong. I was my wife and I were talking about this yesterday, we always talk about basketball, that it's been the last 8 to 9 years. I'm not exactly sure on that number. The team that's won our sectional was either went to the state championship game or to the semi-state.
That's great.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? So we're in a hotbed of basketball for girls. And so, dropping back down, that's what everybody said. Now, it's going to come with different challenges. Last year, the last 2 years, man, we were just the kids haven't had that type of pressure on them, right? When you play Bedford, Bedford's won 13 straight sectional championships in a row. And I remember, thinking, you go through scenarios like, man, if we were to beat Bedford, my daughter in Wren would have been 2 years old the last time they lost a sectional game. Think about that. That's dumb, right?
Yeah.
So it changes. It's a great question because it changes the pressure that the kids have on them. But we also talk about, pressure is good. Sure. That means there's expectation. So what's our goals? Our goal is to compete at the highest level. Our goal is to win sectional, to win conference, win sectional, and our ultimate goal is to win a state championship again.
I was going to say, what I heard is nothing less than a semi-state or state title.
And for those,
a lot of good teams out there, right?
and for those who don't know the new, workaround of sectionals, what sectional did you fall back into for 3A? Is it the same one as it was before? Was there any switch arounds with that?
Yeah, there was. We fell back into sectional 30, which is Charlestown, Silver Creek, Charlestown, Corydon, North Harrison, Madison, and I'm missing one. Oh my goodness, I'm missing one somewhere. Did I say Scottsburg? I can't remember.
You didn't say Scott. Are they in that section?
Yeah, they're in their sectional.
Okay.
Yes.
I
So
got it
Scottsburg. There we go. Okay, so we dropped back down to sectional 30. Salem, which dropped to 2A due to enrollment. The new alignment. So we went from a 7-team sectional to a 6-team now. Sectional 30. So we're in the same sectional, Rich. But you got Scottsburg, who they went to the semi-state last year. I mean, Charlestown's always good. Corden's always tough. Madison's got a couple kids that can go. North Harrison's got the Goldman girl who can play. I mean, I can just keep going down the line of kids that, teams that can beat teams.
And that's super cool too, because we were talking the other day that, Jeff's for boys basketball is gonna be great, but even that sectional for the boys side might be our favorite. So it could be really good for girls. So girls and boys sectional 30 is gonna be unbelievable this year.
Yeah,
we're really
great
excited
competition.
for that.
Yeah, it's great competition. It's great basketball. It's good basketball. You got good teams that are well coached. I always say in our conference, man, in our sectional in our conference is tough, man. You got all kinds of coaches that have won stuff, and they know how to coach. You can't just roll the ball out and be like, okay, I don't have to play with any strategy. You got to coach, and you got to have a group of kids that can understand that.
Little selfish plug this year, Era Sports Network is streaming 10 high school games, one of those which will be Silver Creek Girls at Scottsburg at Meyer Gym, live streamed for free on the YouTube channel. So
A very self-less plug.
I like that, though. Hey, make sure, because I'll plug the crap out of that myself.
There we go.
No,
So-
that's great, man. I think anytime we can put girls basketball out there, it's good basketball. It's not like it used to be 30 years ago. No knock on it 30 years ago. But
and
I'm
at
saying,
every level too, because that wasn't really a question that I prepped you with, but whether it is or not, the Caitlin Clark effect is
Right.
what we're about to talk about. Do you see that at the high school level? Because girls basketball, even where Brooklyn plays the IGB, what they're doing for AAU girls and the Under Armour, like how do you see that trickle down to high school basketball for girls?
well, you can just see it. I mean, you can see it in the young kids. They're all wearing Indiana Fever shirts. I mean, nobody even knew what the Indiana Fever were. They're wearing Indiana Fever shirts. They're coming in jacking threes from the logo.
I was going to say, start shooting from
they
30
are.
feet
Steph
out.
Curry. It's the Steph Curry effect. I mean, that's what it is. It's great. My daughter will sit down and we spend time watching the Fever. Anytime Caitlin Clark's on TV, and we're there together as a family, we'll watch that ball game. I think she's just promoting. It's the Curry effect. She's just promoting the heck out of. And then you got Angel Reese too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like we were talking the other day. It's almost like when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, they kind of resurrected the NBA, because the NBA was struggling prior to that.
Sure. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you had Bird and you had Magic, and I think you're getting that a little bit now in the WNBA.
You couldn't have wrote a better story too for that player to come to the state of Indiana to play.
Yeah.
Like it's fun to watch, and I catch myself watching WNBA games now, and that's a whole nother topic about that growing. But I was just curious if you saw it affect the younger. I just feel like I'm seeing more and more of girls high school basketball, which is good. And that's a fault on us too in the past, is that we haven't covered as much as we will this upcoming year. But I feel like girls are playing AAU now. Girls are putting more time in.
Right.
The games are getting good. I mean,
It's
that
more
game
athletic.
from that picture up there was one of the best games I've watched all year, back and forth. So it's just fun. You got something, Patrick?
Yeah, hold on here. Let's see. We're going to. I want to know. You said you like competition. Are you guys going to schedule Bedford? Are you going to schedule up this year? Are you going to take your show up to Indy on the road?
We do.
What do you got?
Yeah, we always play a tougher schedule. We pride ourselves in playing the best schedule that we can play. We had the 34th toughest schedule in the state of Indiana last year. We played Bedford. Funny story there. We picked up Bedford about 6 years ago. And the reason was we knew they were going to be really, really, really good, right?
So I say Bedford because that's kind of like the standard. When you think of girls
yeah.
basketball around here right now, you think, okay, Bedford, you want to play the best, you play them.
That's exactly right. And that's why we picked them up. Never in my wildest dreams. And I would tell our girls, like, hey, that if we can compete with them, then we have a chance to win a state championship. Never in my wildest dreams did I think the next thing I know, we're going to have to be competing with them to win a sectional. So we had to change our girls' mindsets a little bit. But to answer your question, we got invited to play for the Santa for Sneakers, Sneakers for Santa shootout, which we'll play. It'll be a top 5 team in the state. We're going to play Greensburg, which is a 3A school in Evansville Showcase. They'll probably arguably be ranked number 1 in 3A coming out. They'll be number 1, 2, or 3. They got Leah Wett. They got about five college basketball players, 2 Division I basketball players.
So that's a potential regional semi-state matchup right there.
Exactly. So we're going to Indianapolis, playing in the Lawrence North holiday tournament. So that'll be another really, we'll play Avon. I'm trying to think who all's up in there. But they're all going to be 4A schools. So we've tried to play the best, man.
You're not backing down.
No,
It's-
no. Well,
it's
I
not-
mean, you don't need. I mean,
Silver Creek wants all the smoke.
well,
That's what he's saying.
I want to know who we are,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I mean, I'd rather find out who we. I would rather have a 10-10 season
Absolutely.
and have a chance to know that I can win a sectional, a regional, and a semi-state than to roll in 18-1
Yep.
and not know who I am.
And look at what the Jeffersonville boys did last year with scheduling up at Fisher's, all, at Kokomo, all these tournaments, and then maybe they lost 6 or 7 games, but
look what they
semi-state
did,
comes
right?
around and they're right there.
Yeah,
right
and
in the
sometimes
mix.
people look at your record, and people that do not know basketball,
There you
right?
go.
Let's just say that people that do not know basketball.
That's not us,
No,
right?
100% not you guys. Because there's people out there who just look at the scores, like, oh, she scored 20 points. Oh, she must be really, really good. Okay, but they'll just look at your record and be like, oh, they must be really good, but you don't know who they played. Us. And the flip on that is your kids got to believe in that too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can't go play everybody and get your brains kicked in. We've just been blessed the past, 8-9 years where we've had a run of talent, and it's been okay to go play teams. Now it's not always been like that. So you got to be smart with how you schedule. Just right now, we'll go play, and if we get, believe me, I've been beat 50 before on
yeah.
TV. So it's not look, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of basketball, right?
And that stretch you're talking about, and that Christmas stretch, that's where you really find out what your team's made of and who they are, because they're off school, they're tired, you played that, but you're talking about scheduling your hardest competition in that time will make your team so March ready.
Right.
As a head coach, how many years have you been a head coach now?
Man, 15 at Silver Creek, 21 give or take overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your staff and how you coach your teams, when do you start talking about March? Is that something in the DNA of the whole season, or do you start about January?
Yeah, we really don't. Honestly, man, we really don't even talk about winning. I mean, we talk about winning, but we never say, "Hey, our goal is a state championship." I mean, that's unsaid.
Yeah.
Or semi-state or regional, whatever, or conference. That's unsaid, because the last thing is I've had teams that, as long as they're playing their best basketball at the end of the season, and we've been lucky that that's who we've been for a while, then that's good, right? Because if I say, hey, if we don't win a state championship or bust, then maybe we're just not. It's not meant to be, because you got to be good and you got to be lucky.
Yeah.
You got to get lucky to win that state to
No
make that
injuries,
run.
right? Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. So we really don't talk. We talk about day-to-day stuff, right? I mean, day-to-day. Just get better. Keep getting better. Now as coaches, we talk about stuff. There's certain benchmarks that you can see, certain teams on our schedule that we circle and like, okay, this is a measuring stick right here. Let's see where we are.
Yeah.
And the whole goal, and this is, I think everybody, I'm looking at, I'm looking at that poster up there, and I'm looking at all the schools and stuff on there, and the whole goal is for every one of them and every one of us to be playing our best basketball. For us, is February, right? Into January, to be playing our best basketball. So as a coach, what my job is to make sure that I'm challenging my kids every day and putting obstacles where they do not get content and they do not get comfortable. As soon as they get content and comfortable, then that's a recipe for an upset.
Absolutely.
I got one. The most underrated people in the whole of high school basketball is your staff. Nobody gets the praise. Nobody talks about it as much. Tell me a little bit about your staff, because they're super talented, and you've had a couple new additions. So we can talk about players all day, but something that I'm super interested in is because they're all such good people on these high school staffs around here. So tell me a little bit about your staff.
Important too, right?
Yeah, 100. And I appreciate you asking that question, because you hit it on. You both hit it on the head. They're underappreciated, undervalued, and I believe, and I put my hand on a Bible on this one, that I have arguably the best staff in Indiana.
Most dedicated, 100%.
100, man. I mean, I'm very lucky. I have my dad, who's my assistant. My dad's won over 275 games as a varsity high school coach. I always say he's Rick Pitino, I'm Richard Pitino. Everybody knows who Pops is. But then I got my best friend, and I'm lucky I get to coach with family and friends. So I have my dad, who's my right-hand man. I have my sister, Brittany, who played at Indiana State. She's just a basketball brain, and she relates so well to the kids. She coaches my JV group. I have Tara Logan from North Harrison, who was an Indiana All-Star. She's on my staff. I have my main man, Dave Rooney. His basketball, he had 2 daughters, right? And Jason Hawkins, who was a football coach at Charlestown, when I became the girls' coach up here, he said, "Man, I think I got a guy that can be an assistant for you." And I had no idea who Dave was. And he goes, he has 2 daughters. They were in like 5th grade, 6th grade at St. Paul. And so I went and talked to Dave. He was teaching, and he's like, "Yeah, I got 2 daughters." So I put him as my 6th grade coach, right? And and he loved it, fell in love with it. And so he coached, and I bumped him up to my high school staff.
It was a pretty good decision
It was
long term.
Right, exactly, man. He has two really good daughters too. That helps.
Yeah.
But
It's called thinking ahead.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And he's a military background. He's the guy that he helps with scouting. I mean, he breaks down. He watches just as much film as I do. Then we have Noah Bays, who's been with me for
Silver Creek legend.
ever. He's the most winningest coach at Silver Creek. Like he's like Phil Jackson with rings.
He is. Baseball,
seriously,
volleyball.
everything. Yeah, he coaches everything and wins. That's all he does is win. Either that or he picks out the right sports to coach.
There you go. Yeah.
There it is.
But he does. He's got so many state rings. It's crazy. And then we just had an addition of Brad Burton.
Huge
yes,
addition.
it's great. Brad and I coached together with my dad. Shoot, I guess. Oh my gosh, it's been about 18 years ago. When I moved back up here, I started helping my dad. It's when I first started coaching girls. Silver Creek's the only girls job I've ever had. I've never coached girls before. So when I moved up, I went and helped my dad coach my sister. And Brad was the JV coach. So I got to know Brad through Dad, and we just struck up a relationship. Then he took the Providence job, and did. I mean, he built that program. I mean, I'll just say it. He built that program to what it is now.
100%.
I mean, that's it. He did. Pam Hall did an excellent job. Let me go back to her because she could coach too. I mean, she did a great job. And then they had a run of not very good. Coach Hall had stepped down, and Brad came in. He built that program up, and then he was available, and he and I were talking, and I was like, dude, why not, man? Come on over here. I was like, there's a ton of value you can bring. It's always good to have another head coach too. Like I have my dad and I have Brad. They've all been through it. Because until you sit in that chair, making those decisions, it's tough, and it's nice to bounce ideas off of people.
And watching from the outside in too, because we got to go to state with film you guys and just watch. There's no egos either. Everybody really just wants to win. And sometimes when you have that on a bench where it's like this person's been a head coach, it's button heads. But with you guys, it seems like you're a family. You love the girls love you, and it's a fun party. I don't know what to call it.
Well, what we live on, and if you would ask our girls this question, we always say, girls, if it's good for the team, and they'll say it. They'll say it's good. If it's good for the team, it's good. And it doesn't matter if it's my idea, if it's Dad's idea, if it's Noah's idea, Rooney, it doesn't matter. If it helps us win, that's all that matters. I learned a long time ago, let my pride go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Because, the bottom line is you want to do what's best for these kids. And we're talking a lot about winning. And I don't want everybody to think, well, it's just about winning. It is about I have fun. Like the day it's not fun, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed in the fact that I get to coach with my best friends. My family. It's awesome. And the girls feel that. Like we talk family, and it's cliche-ish to say that because everybody says that. Oh, we're family. Oh, 1, 2, 3 family. But saying it and being it and doing it are two different things, right? And so it is fun. I think our girls have fun. It's hard. There's expectations, but I think our girls know when they come in, hey, let's have fun and taking care of business.
Absolutely.
And when you have a staff that's on the same page as you, everything just starts to click and work out. So it's great you have your family, you have people you trust, people that know what they're doing out there with you.
Oh yeah, and you hit it, trust, man.
Because sometimes you have guys on the bench, they want your spot,
right?
Right. You never know about that stuff. So when you have trust with your guys and your staff, it makes everything so much easier.
And no egos. It's not about who gets the love or who gets to shine or who gets. It's not about that. The bottom line is if we want to accomplish dreams and goals and things like that, and it takes everybody. Everybody's got to pull their weight, and I can't have other people going rogue and stuff like that. And I had a Rick Snodgrass who won his 600th game not long ago. I coached under him at North Harrison long time ago, real long. And he had told me once about, and it's funny you said that, about hiring people. He said, man, you want to hire coaches that want to be head coaches, just not where you're coaching.
Yeah.
Not in spite of you, right?
Exactly.
Well, you've been through a lot of ups and downs at Silver Creek. So these next couple of questions are all strung together. You answer them all however you feel. But you've went through a lot of chaos in the last couple of years, from COVID, state championship, all that, to now having, because you teach at the school, having a classroom that's probably just torn to pieces, or I don't know. You just tell me a little bit about that. But working towards we're going to have this amazing school. So tell me about What classes do you teach? What did you go through that COVID / okay, we're going to build this new school all together? Tell me a little bit about just like the process of what you do every day at school.
Yeah, well, I teach. I got a greatest gig under the sun, man. I teach health in college and careers to sophomores. So I got everybody. I mean, well, me and another lady, we team teach, but I get half the sophomores and stuff. And so it's a great thing. I love like the energy kids bring, right? And so COVID, I mean, we talk about that. Golly, that was just figuring things out. That's like dodging raindrops. That's all that was. It's like, everything.
Everybody was just winging it.
It was, right?
Point.
Yeah, you're changing, and everything was changing so much. And I thought, Coach Dablow, who was our AD at the time, did such a wonderful job of navigating us through that storm, man. I mean, he was very patient. There was a lot of unwritten rules about that stuff. It's like you got to, in practice, you're trying to keep everybody, 8 feet apart, further than 6. Because I remember the first kid that got busted with COVID, say it like that, right? Got busted with COVID.
Yeah.
The first one that popped positive, it shut down 90 athletes, right? 90 athletes because of, then everybody went virtual.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was like, hey, nope, I'm out. And I went virtual. Which opened up a whole other thing for us at Silver Creek because we weren't an e-learning school at the time, right? We didn't have Chromebooks or stuff like that. When COVID hit, it changed everything.
Now we all got.
Now we do, right? Yeah. And now we're on Chromebooks and we have e-learning, and then they come through and it's so much needed a $48 million renovation to the high school. And it's a war zone. You ask what my class looks like, and I don't know if it's appropriate or not. It looks like a refugee camp. That's what mine looks. I'm in the auxiliary gym with 6 classrooms and curtains separating us right now. But there is always light at the end of the tunnel, and we do. In October, they're opening up the new part of the school, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's going to be second to none. 2 stories. I mean, they're doing it right. It's over. It was so needed for our kids. That school was built for 625 kids. We have over 950.
My sister graduated in 2020 from Silver Creek, so she was telling me about the stuff that was just growing in the ceiling. There's like just organisms in the
cockroaches.
bathrooms.
We got Jerry the cockroach. That's my dude. I tell my kids, don't kill him. That's a pet. That's the class pet right there.
He's an OG.
But it's going to be nice. The gym.
Yeah,
man,
I want to know more about this gym. Yeah. So because the stage was infamous stage of Silver Creek, and now it's just gone. It's
gone, right? The stage is gone. What they're going to do is they tore the stage out. We're putting bleachers back there. So about 6 rows of bleachers with the goal is some type of screen behind there for highlights and all that stuff.
Are we trying to get a sectional there?
Oh my God! Listen, man, please, happening? Yes, that's the goal. Yep. And we've kind of talked about that. Brandon, Coach Hoffman and I have talked about that. The last time Silver Creek hosted a sectional was 2009. That was the year I got here. It was a girls sectional they hosted, right? But they haven't. Yeah, that's the goal. Now
he's got a little bit more pull now, though.
Right.
So there you go.
Yes. Now
as
he's
an AD,
the man.
he can do something about it.
It's up. Now I can yell at him.
Well, when you're the AD and you've won 2 state championships, you can. Some pull.
I will say just to the podcast, whoever made the decision about the stage, that's where I sat and filmed every Silver Creek game. And now I don't know where I'm going to film. So I'm a little pissed about that.
Yeah, the roosters, what are the crow's nest?
Yeah, the little corners out there.
Are you allowed in that gym? Are you allowed at Silver Creek?
Hey, I don't know. Hey, you might be careful. You got to change your. Hey, they're going to boo you when you come in.
No. It's been a lot. Whatever. Right. But amazing football field, amazing baseball and softball fields. That's the cool thing too about you guys at Silver Creek is we film all sports. So when I go to a football game and I see the girls' staff and the boys' staff sitting on the sideline supporting them, you go to a baseball game, you see all the other staffs. It's just cool. Like everybody supports everybody. And
I think it's a culture, and I'm sure other schools have it. I don't know because I'm not at another school, right? I know what we have in those walls. I know the fact that our schools needed renovation for years after years after years. And we've talked to about coaches is, sometimes misery loves company, right? And sometimes it's good to not have everything. Mm-hmm. Our auxiliary gym is terrible. It's god awful.
Yeah.
It used to not have air conditioning, and our kids would complain, and I would be we would go up there and I'm like, hey, that's where champions are made. Up here, I want to go practice up there because it's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's just conditions, right? And so as coaches, we kind of talk.
You guys don't win this game. We're practicing in that gym.
Right, yeah. Hey, we're going to use that locker room.
There you go.
Hey, we'll use that locker room. Y'all see our locker room, man.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Man, listen, it's sick. So, I got my own office, which that's crazy to me, but they got their own personal lockers, right? They got locks. We got a meeting room. I mean, it's to the tens, man.
Can you watch? Are you gonna have a place to watch film?
Exactly, man. I mean,
need a tour.
We can. We
need
need
a
to do
tour.
that soon, man. It's a college campus. That's what, like, looking at all the plans and seeing everything come together. It's basically going to be a small college campus there at Silver Creek. Which, like I said, I mean, if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, do it to the tens. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited because come fall break, my classroom will be finished.
There you go.
So then I get to move up to the
I live in
nice
Floyd
area.
County now, so I'm like, build it all.
Hey, build it
I'm
all.
like,
No, my
put it
taxes aren't bothered.
I watched Southern Indiana ball for a while, and it seems like the last 10 to 12 years, Silver Creek has just kind of exploded as a athletic power in this area. Is that how you see it since you've been back? It seems like before that they were good, but now in every sport they're just coming along and building everything up.
Yeah, well, I think it's growth. It's growth of the population. Number one, I think it's an emphasis on not just emphasis on that. It's a great academic school too. Don't get me wrong, but I think you have coaches, you have administrators who they're passionate about it, right? And not just at the high school, right? I mean, that's not where it starts. You gotta.
Sure.
It takes years, and you got to build it from the ground, right? The backbone is your young kids, and you got to build it, and they got to love it, and they got to dream about it. And that's what I see. We've had a run of talent too. I mean, that helps. Listen, man, I've been doing this a long time, and the year we won the state championship, that wasn't my best coaching job. It was the year we won 0 games. One time it shows, man. Because talent's talent, man. I mean, with that team, we won the state. Basically, my job was it was more about
Don't
egos.
wreck the car.
Well, it is, and it's about, you got a bunch of alphas out there who are all, I mean, we had 6 kids go on to play collegiate basketball, anywhere from Division I down to Division III. I mean, it was loaded with talent. I had a sixth man who had started for her 3 years, going into her senior year. She had started every single game since her freshman year. And we had a transfer come in, Marissa Gassaway, who came in, and I mean, she's at Winthrop now playing Division I basketball. She won a national championship at Northwest Florida State, at JUCO, down in Destin, and then she went from there. She went to Winthrop, and she's the 23rd leading rebounder in the nation in NCAA Division I. So, I mean, she's talented, man. She's really, really good. And but we had a kid, Savannah Kirkessinger, who had started, and Savannah was able to understand the bigger goal and took a step back so Marissa could start. Now, Savannah still played a lot, but her starting spot was taken, right? But I think, to answer your question about the run and the wins and stuff, I think we've had a lot of kids. Everybody always thinks about the Kennedy Mason Stuyvesants, the Alana Stuyvesants. I mean, we can go the Brooklyn Wrens, but they don't know about and they know the Emmy Rooneys, those girls, but they don't know Savannah Kirkessinger, Abby Grimm. I mean, I could go through kids who made huge sacrifices, and I think that's why you get schools and teams that win is people sacrifice. They don't worry about just their personal stats. It's important.
Yeah. Sure.
But as soon as you start putting stuff on your personal and your parents start preaching, oh my gosh, you didn't get enough shots. Oh my gosh, you didn't get enough playing time. Well, then it starts taking away from what the bigger picture is. And that's not fair to the kids. Kids are hearing the message, but man, they leave that locker room, and we always say you gotta fight the outside noise, man.
Yep.
Keep the outside noise the outside.
Trust the staff, man.
Right.
A lot of people don't understand. Like, coaching is like a CEO of a business almost. You got the parents are over here. You got your assistants. You got administration. You got everything you got to deal with. So, hey, props to you, and props to all these coaches, and respect.
Well, I'm blessed. I have really good parents too. I don't want somebody on the podcast like, oh my gosh, Scott thinks he got terrible parents. I have really.
We're just clipping that.
Okay, good.
I'm going to edit it. Coach says we have terrible parents.
We have terrible parents. I have great parents, right? They trust me. They trust me that I'm going to do what, and I'm human, man. I make mistakes. Sure. I screw up. I know that, and I can own that. Believe me, after games, I go back and what was I thinking? Then I blame my staff.
There you go.
Right?
Or your daughter.
Or my daughter.
There you go.
Usually it's my daughter. That's usually who gets the wrath of everything.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. We're big Silver Creek supporters, especially this year for girls. We'll be at a lot of games. It's going to be fun. We're excited.
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave the state of Indiana with to look forward to for your team?
Hey, just come support us. We're going to be fun to watch. You got some really good players. So go Dragons, right?
Go Dragons.
Here we go.
Go Dragons.
Dragon for life.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Era Sports. We're at the game.